Namaskar. The respected Governor of Goa, Shri P.S. Sreedharan Pillai, Dr. Pramod Sawant, Honorable Chief Minister of Goa, Shri Secretary to the Governor, Shri M.R.M. Rao, all the distinguished members of the government here, the officers, Ma'am, Governor, distinguished guests and esteemed dignitaries. On an earlier meeting with the respected Governor, I was so delighted to receive from him a collection of the books which had come from his pen. I was even more delighted when Rajapalji said to me that he is a member of the bar and that he practiced before the Kerala High Court, because that immediately strikes a chord between lawyers, and we are all members of the bar. Though I've become a judge, I still feel I'm a member of the bar, and I dare say the same feeling which the Honorable Governor also has in his mind. I know that he has been so active in social life, in the public life of the nation, apart from being just a person dedicated to the profession of law. And it's truly remarkable that Rajapalji has found time to pen all these books on diverse social issues which are of extreme value and importance to our nation. When I was Chief Justice of the High Court of Judicature at Allahabad for 3 years, between 2013 and 2016, I had occasion to interact very personally with the then Rajapalji in Allahabad of Uttar Pradesh, Ram Naikji. And Ram Naikji, before I met him, had appeared before me in the Bombay High Court. And when I swore him in as the Governor of Uttar Pradesh, he said, "Do you remember me?" And I right away remembered the occasion. He had done a lot of work for the commuters in the suburban trains of Mumbai. And apart from that, he had actively represented the farmers whose lands had been acquired for the Tarapur nuclear project. And he used to come regularly to my court and appear, not then as a governor, but as a public-spirited person. So when he was sworn in as the Governor of Uttar Pradesh, Ram Naikji asked me one question. He says, "I still want to go back to the Bombay High Court and appear for all those poor farmers who I am representing, because nobody knows their case as well as I know the case." So he said, "I have my first question to you, Chief Justice. As a governor, can I go back to the High Court and appear for these poor people whom I represent?" So I said, "Respected Rajapalji, I'm sure that you can entrust this work to any dynamic young lawyer who will appear on your behalf, but there are some restraints of office." But truly the reason I mention this is that this is a great tradition in our country of the Honorable Rajapalji's, the governors, being actively involved in so much of the public life of the nation. And I think this is in the same tradition that Shri Sreedharan Pillai, the Honorable Governor of Goa, has written one more in a succession of books which will serve the cause of the nation. So I'm truly privileged to release this book, Traditional Trees of Bharat, a work which is profoundly important in these times of environmental crisis and climate change, as we seek to reconnect with our roots and understand the vital role trees play in our ecosystem. Just last weekend, I was in the Bandipur National Park and Sanctuary, and I drove through the Bandipur National Park, and then I went to Madumalai, which is really on the tri-junction, but in Tamil Nadu. And one thing which I was really impressed by is looking at the wide variety of flora and fauna. Small trees, young trees, large trees which tell you that we are only a speck in the universe of existence. When you look at these huge trees which are 200 or 300 years old, you realize how inconsequential human life is. Like when you travel to Ladakh and look at the majesty of the mountains, and you look at the glaciers, and you say that, well, even one glacier can swallow me up, and how insignificant is human life and how much we are dependent on the power of nature. I was also deeply struck by trees which had fallen. trees which had fallen, they were no longer living trees. But the importance of the forest is that no tree which is even dead is removed from the forest. Because that tree gives back to the forest. Because that tree becomes a source of regenerating nature and life. Whether it's in the fungi, it's in the small insects, in the birds which will make a home in the bark of that fallen tree. The protection of our rivers, mountains and the environment is a deeply embedded Indian sentiment, reflected in our ancient traditions and spiritual beliefs. In the stories passed down from generation to generation, nature is not just a resource, it is alive, sacred and deeply intertwined with our existence. In Indian mythology, trees have always held a sacred place. The peepal tree, for instance, is revered as an embodiment of Lord Vishnu and is believed to grant spiritual enlightenment to those who seek solace beneath its branches. It is often associated with healing and protection, symbolizing the connection between the physical and the spiritual realms. Similarly, the banyan tree is considered the Kalpavriksha, a wish-fulfilling divine tree. But it is more than that. It is a symbol of endurance. Its massive canopy offers shelter to travelers, animals, and birds alike, while its roots, which descend from its branches, create new life wherever they touch the ground. In some stories, the banyan is seen as the tree under which the universe regenerates itself, with its endless branches representing the eternal cycle of life. I didn't realize all this when I was a small child. There was a banyan tree in the house of a colleague of my father who was a judge of the Bombay High Court. Justice V.M. Tarkunde, a very distinguished judge. He lived in a bungalow called Ajanta. All that tree meant for us as young children, was that we could swing from the branches, which we did every day. These stories remind us that in India, trees are more than just part of the landscape. They are living entities with deep spiritual and cultural significance. The book by the governor beautifully captures this essence, reminding us not only of their sacred importance, but also of their practical role in sustaining life. Trees serve as the lifeblood of ecosystems, providing shelter and protection to countless species of animals and birds. From the smallest insects that burrow into the bark to birds that nest in the branches, trees are nature's sanctuaries. Beyond offering shelter, trees provide food and nourishment. Fruit-bearing trees like the mango and the jamun sustain not only humans but also myriad of wildlife, from birds to bats to deer. In forest, trees form a complex web of life where each branch, leaf and root plays a vital role in the balance of nature. In my previous residence as a judge of the Supreme Court and before I took over as the Chief Justice of India, we had a beautiful moringa tree. And when the lockdown took place and we had a little more time to look at nature than what our busy lives give us, I used to watch the birds which came into the moringa tree. Each of these birds, whether it was a parrot or any other bird in the ecosystem, would open the drumstick, open it very carefully, not destroy the whole of it, open only that much that was required to sustain itself for that moment. Eat it and run away and fly away. Likewise, in our garden now, in the official residence of the Chief Justice of India, when I sit to work on my laptop and I look at the birds coming into the tree, I am always struck by the fact that they never ask for more than they require at that moment. In the summer when Delhi was going up to 52 degrees, we used to keep water for the birds across our garden in some grains. My Secretary General, Mr. Atul Kurekar, and Mr. Mahesh Patinkar, Mr. Rakesh Sharma, who was here, we all created pots of water which we put in different parts of the Supreme Court compound, because birds were falling dead in the heat. We also kept food for them in the form of grains. One thing which always struck me was, however hot it was in Delhi, the bird will not continue drinking water. The bird will take only one drop of water or 2 drops of water. They do not bother about tomorrow or the later part of the day, as we humans believe. We are always bothered about what will happen tomorrow to us, to our children. Birds only live in the present, and nature only lives in the present. That's something which is a great life's learning experience for us, namely to be mindful, to live in the present, to think of the present, to understand the blessings of life which are conferred on us. The blessing of life, for instance, of being at this moment overlooking the beautiful Dona Paula. Why think of tomorrow? Why think of this evening? You must really be focused, and that's what nature teaches us. The book is divided into two significant sections, the ethno-medicinal flora of the sacred groves of Kerala and an exploration of India's medicinal tree legacy. Within these sections, we discover the remarkable heading healing properties of various trees. For instance, the neem tree, known as the village pharmacy, possesses anti-inflammatory, antibacterial, and antiviral properties, making it effective in treating conditions ranging from skin diseases to infections. Similarly, the Ashoka tree is revered for its ability to alleviate menstrual disorders, while the Bale tree is celebrated for its efficacy in curing gastrointestinal diseases. The knowledge encapsulated in this book highlights the invaluable contributions of traditional trees to our understanding of natural remedies and their integration into holistic practices. Just the day before yesterday, I inaugurated the International Conference on the Advancements of Research and Global Opportunities for Holistic Ayurveda. Because I follow an Ayurvedic lifestyle, thanks to my wife. We are also vegans. So we are not just vegetarians, but we are vegans, which means that we practice a lifestyle to the extent possible, humanly, of leading cruelty-free lifestyles. This gathering brought together experts and practitioners from around the world to explore the integration of traditional knowledge and modern science in promoting health and wellness. It highlighted the importance of nature in promoting holistic well-being, reinforcing our deep connection to the environment. While trees are valuable sources of medicinal compounds, their value extends beyond that. They symbolize resilience and longevity, offering us lessons in sustainability and balance. Their presence in our ecosystems contributes to our overall health, not just physically, but mentally and spiritually as well. Trees constantly tell us that the world and nature is constantly regenerating, and we need not be fearful of human existence, because there is a universality of nature, of human existence, and the universality of what nature symbolizes, that nature is eternal. The protection of trees and forests is a vital aspect of environmental conservation, enshrined in our Constitution. India has long recognized the intrinsic value of nature, which often stems from the importance placed on the environment in traditional South Asian societies. Article 48A of the Constitution states that the state shall endeavour to protect and improve the environment and to safeguard the forests and wildlife of the country. But it's not only about the state doing it. What about we as citizens? Article 51A gives a fundamental duty that every citizen must protect and improve the natural environment, including forests, lakes, rivers, and wildlife, and to have compassion for living creatures. These provisions establish a clear constitutional mandate for the protection of nature. Years ago, I went with my now distinguished brother, Justice Koteshwar Singh, who was then a judge of the Manipur High Court, and he took me to this very sacred grove where there were sacred trees thousands of years ago. And he told me only one thing. He said, when we walk through this, the tribal communities do not allow anybody to take a fruit and take it outside that grove. You eat what you want to eat, but eat it within the grove. Pluck what you want to pluck, but consume it within that grove. They say that if you eat something, it's fine. If you take it outside, some tragedy will befall that particular community. But that's whether you believe in it or not. And of course, there are people who have deep spiritual beliefs in this. The principle is this, that don't depend on nature for more than what you need. Nature, as the father of the nation has said, has enough to provide everybody's need, but it does not have enough to provide for everybody's greed.